obviously I hurt for our football team right now. Uh, Stinks to lose, but I want to start first and foremost by just the fight by our guys. I appreciate the effort, laying it on the line for each other. There's definitely no quit in our football team, but at the end of the day, we lost a 3-point game against a team that has thrived certainly the last half of the season on the turnover margin. And we got ourselves in a -2 deficit tonight in the turnover margin. That's a tough formula. Our guys fought, though. We certainly had a chance at the end of the football game there, but you have to credit Bowling Green for doing a great job of finding a way to win, and in order for us to have a consistent chance to win week in, week out, we have to eliminate those things. We cannot turn the football over, and in order to have a chance to be consistent week in, week out, and put ourselves in a position to win.
Yeah, coach, what do you just kind of tell your guys in the locker room after a game like this that you said was hard fought?
I think most importantly, I wanted to commend them in the effort in which they played with, but there's nothing I can say to take away anybody's pain right now. Obviously, the first question that's going to be asked is, we've eliminated ourselves from bowl eligibility. That's a tough pill to swallow if you're a young man that's a senior in your final year of college football. But there is a lot to play for, and we have to stay by each other's side. It's going to be a long bus ride back home with a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of things that you're thinking about that are racing through your mind. But we have to pick up our chin. I've said this a lot in my career, but tough times never last in life, and tough people do. And quitting is not an option. We got to stay by each other's side, and we got to pick up the pieces, man. And every one of those guys in the locker room needs a hug. Every one of those guys needs to know that their teammates love them, and that's all we can do. It's gonna be a short week before we go on the road and play again, and we get on a bus to travel to DeKalb next Monday for the Bronze Stalk rivalry game against Northern Illinois. So it's tough. I don't have anything. It's tough to find any words for your football team, but I think the most importantly, I want to make sure they know I love them, and I appreciate them laying it on the line for each other.
For sure. Defensively, what are your kind of just takeaways from tonight? Because it seemed like one play might be an amazing tackle for loss. The next, they might break something big.
Yeah, and I look back at the first half, and we put our defense in a bad position. When we had the 2 turnovers there, and we put our defense in a bad position, we're defending a short field, and and obviously those are things that we have to eliminate in order to have a chance to be consistent week in, week out. But our defense plays so scrappy all the time, and I think it's remarkable. I know that when they got down there at the 1-yard line on two different drives, and they went backwards. That tells you about the heart. That tells you about the resilience of those young men on the defensive side of the ball, and it tells you about the resilience of our football team. And I know, it's they end up scoring a touchdown on the one drive there where, we got them, and the back ran a wheel route there out of the backfield. And but just the heart of our football team. Certainly proud of our guys for that.
And then offensively, did you feel like, with Kiael and the running attack, was it the best that you guys have played so far?
I think that's just our formula. That's what it is. That's what we have to make sure that we get established every week in order to have a chance to win. And I think, I thought the performance last game, rushing for 250 yards nearly against Central Michigan, was very positive, and I thought we continued with that tonight. The one thing that has to be eliminated is a turnover. So we had the one fumble there, and then we had the lateral that we lost that possession as well at midfield. So those are things that we got to eliminate in order to have a chance to win. But that's the formula that we know that we're going to have to make sure we get established week in, week out.
Did anything change, you guys make any adjustments in the second half? Because it did seem a little, I guess, more the offense, especially not sloppy, like you kind of mentioned.
Oh, I think in the first half there, talking at halftime, and even when it was taking place in the drive during the game, I think we had a couple of opportunities there where perhaps we missed a cut, or maybe we missed a pull on a read there. So felt like we blocked it up well up front. And in the second half, I think you saw, it was the same play there. Kiael scored on the touchdown. That was the exact same play that, unfortunately, we had the lateral there when Coop, swooped out of the backfield there. That was a lateral. That was the exact same play. But this time he pulled it. And obviously you saw what he did 50 yards later on that touchdown run. So it's just a consistency, and for us being in some of these close games that we're going to be in, we got to eliminate that from what takes place week in, week out in order to have a chance to win.
In terms of the big plays that they were able to do against the defense, it seemed like the defense had done a better job the last couple of weeks heading into tonight of limiting those. Did you see any kind of old mistakes kind of creep up that led to those mistakes?
Well, obviously the one long run there in the first half, certainly Terrion Stewart's a great play, but I think, it comes down to making sure each guy's doing his job that way. He's a good player, but, I think certainly it comes back to our guys making sure they're doing their job. And then obviously the long pass play there when we got to 2nd and 20, that's one that you're like, because our defense typically doesn't give up play like that. So we'll have to take a look at the tape and see if, some communication or miscommunication happened or somebody was out of position there. Obviously it took place kind of going towards their sideline on that corner route by the tight end. So we'll have to take a peek at that here on film and talk to the defensive staff and see exactly what happened there.
And then last one for me, I was just kind of curious what the approach or the thought process was on those last couple of plays on that final possession. Obviously there was limited time. You try to go to the sideline to Vaughn, I think it was.
Trying to find a way to get 5 more yards, but obviously knowing that there's 12 seconds left on the clock. If we were to throw the ball inbounds and get 5 yards, unfortunately, there's no guarantee the exchange from the receiver back to the official. If the officials doesn't get it spotted quite as efficiently as you would like, you'd hate to be sitting there going, man, we can't clock it and have any time left to send the field goal unit out. So we were trying to attack the sideline to try to figure out a way to get 5 more yards there. This first one, obviously, and it was one of those to Kiael, like, hey, man, it's the sideline. Don't worry about the other side of the field. It's not a progression play right now. It's either the go ball or it's the out route to the slot receiver. So he, obviously because of the corner squatting on that and playing cloud coverage, he did a great job of throwing the go ball on the outside release. Thought the second one we might have had a chance but again, I'll take a peek at the tape there and but trying to steal 5 more yards there for Jackson, and he delivered a great kick there at the end, and just fell short there.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, obviously Kiael ended up having his most passing attempts and starts this year, but really that wasn't until the final drive that you saw him pass more than normal. Do you feel like it could have been a more balanced attack tonight, or are you confident in the game plan that you set out?
For us right now, I feel very confident about the zone read game, the RPO game, and the design QB run game. Those are things that I've got a lot of reps at in practice. Feel that that's what we're most consistent with. Obviously, throwing the football, you want to be more efficient than that with the 9 and 19. But in saying that, he did deliver some nice throws there in the 2-minute situation at the end of the game that got us down there where we were on the 35-yard line and had a chance. So those were big on his end. Great job with the decision-making part. Great job giving the wideouts an opportunity to make a play there. So we keep working on it. Obviously there in the first half, we felt like we had a chance with time left at a 2-minute drive with some timeouts. And, obviously your 2-minute menu, you work hard at it. You feel like it's one of those that's got answers depending on what you're going to see. You're going to see zone coverage. You're going to see man-to-man coverage. And it all comes down to execution and making sure that you're trusting the guys around you.
It seemed like turnovers were kind of the name of the game tonight, and you even alluded to that before the game even started. With the fact that there are 2 fumbles, no disrespect to Bowling Green, but do you feel like those 2 turnovers tonight could have been prevented?
Oh, sure. Obviously, we work on ball security every day in practice. We work on, as soon as we get done with stretch, we work on different ways to attack, getting the ball out. Defensive guys trying to force a fumble. We have a gauntlet where we have players lined up in a gauntlet trying to make sure ball security is emphasized at a high level, and you can't get lax with ball security because certainly with this football team, they've got a knack They do a good job of executing their punch technique and getting the ball on the ground. So, yeah, certainly felt like those could have been prevented on our end, but we also got to do our part and make sure that we eliminate that.
No disrespect to any of the other units, but it feels like recently the defensive line has really been keeping you guys in games. They've been playing really well, especially in crunch time. Can you kind of just speak on the heart that they have and what they bring to the team?
Yeah, our defensive line, and you talk about Sydney Houston too. When you think about that first play down there in that red zone, when they were on the 1 yard line, they tried to run, an outside run there with Terrion Stewart, and Strick was there to knock that one back. And then the second time they tried to run a jet, and Sydney shot through that gap because he was the unblocked defender that you got to beat on the jet sweep game in order to get it started and get around the edge. And so that's a remarkable play by him, but just a fight by that group of guys. And, that group of guys is a veteran group that's played a lot of football, and they're hungry. They want to stay on the court. We've talked a lot the last couple of weeks about, the situation we're in, no different than pick up basketball as a kid, man. You want to stay on the court, you got to win. And our guys took that to heart with their effort and the way they were playing. And up front, those guys wanted it. And you could see the strain in which they were playing with and trying to figure out a way to make a play for their teammates.
Kind of like Gus said, it did seem like a different kind of approach or mentality in the second half as opposed to the first. What was the message that you kind of laid out to the team in the locker room at half?
Yeah, really, at halftime, wanted to try to make sure I stay composed. It was all self-inflicted wounds in the first half. The 2 turnovers, had a couple penalties there that were, obviously, you certainly can't have those. But I told our guys at halftime, let's continue to play great defense like we have, and let's establish a run here in the second half. We're going to go run it down their throat, and impose our will. That's going to be the formula here for the second half. And so I think it was just guys, saying, hey, let's go out and let's respond to the challenge there. We all knew, every one of those guys in that locker room knew that, what happened in the first half is certainly things that are self-inflicted, and we can eliminate that.
You kind of hinted at it earlier with just kind of mentioning the inconsistency. It's kind of seemed like that in all of the games this year, where there's a lot of times where there's a lot of flashes of good, and then maybe a self-inflicted wound or something like that will come up to bite you. Do you feel like inconsistency maybe has been what's cost you guys a lot of games this year?
Well, obviously you look at the conference games, especially, and if you want to have a chance to win in this conference, you got to be consistent week in, week out. You got to be good at the little things. The turnover margin has to be in your favor week in, week out, in order to have a chance to win. And it's a competitive league from top to bottom. And, in order to have a chance to win, those are things that just simply can't happen. They have to be eliminated, from every game that you play in order to give yourself an opportunity to win and be consistent week in, week out. Because we did a lot of good things just like a week ago, but when you have 2 turnovers and they capitalize on those turnovers, those are things that you have to eliminate in order to have a chance to be consistent.
Last thing for me, at the beginning, you mentioned the bus rides. It's kind of going to be a long bus ride home. You've had these bus rides before. What are they like, I guess, as a coach or even as a player?
I mean, I can't speak for all the players, man. You get on the bus, and obviously we got work to do. We have a short week here, so we got to watch the tape of the game tonight on the way home, and we got to start watching Northern Illinois because we have a short week here in order to get ourselves ready to go. And it ends up being the longest trip that we have next week to travel on a bus to Northern Illinois. So there's not a lot that can be said right now. Don't have a chance to interact with all the guys on the bus on the ride home. So we'll just, keep pressing forward, keep fighting, and get ourselves ready to go.
Obviously a tough loss. Really just the thing that I want to talk to you about most is the defensive line, and just the linebacker core and everybody who's rushing the passer and stopping the run. That's just seemed like the anchor of not only the defense, but the team this year. And firsthand what the mentality of that group is like. Can you kind of just talk to me about the fight that the defensive line and the linebacker core has?
Well, I'm gonna be quite honest. Our defensive line in previous years hasn't produced like at all. To be honest, we had like 3 total sacks in the past 2 seasons with our D line, and they took it upon themselves at the beginning of the season and in camp and in spring that they were going to wreak havoc, our linebacking core, and we just backing up them. Like they make all that happen so I can run around freely, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. And I think too, what I've noticed out of you, and you've said it, since you've stepped into this larger role, you've wanted to be more of a leader, both vocally and through your actions. And I feel like that showed a lot tonight. After a big play, you'd be vocal. How do you feel like you've grown, not only as a player, but as a leader this season?
I feel like I've grown a lot, to be honest. Still some growing pains with it. I still slip off and won't take accountability for my actions, knowing that I have to do more and communicate more now that I'm in that leadership role. But just having everybody, like the whole team's behind my back, and I'm so grateful to be on the team with these guys.
After the turnovers like they were committed tonight, and you're starting in your opponent's territory for defense, just all of a sudden right after the offense gets the ball, what's that like as a defense having to go right back out on the field and adjust?
It don't matter to me at all. They can get the ball at the 1 yard line every drive. We're not supposed to let them score. And we work on that, and it's called sudden change in practice, just like you say, sudden change in the game. We'll start yelling sudden change, and then we might do up downs, we might run gassers. Ain't no telling what Coach Stock can have up his sleeve. So we are really well prepared for anything that's thrown for us in the game.
So do you feel like that preparation that you're talking about makes you guys do a lot better at like goal line offense? Because I think tonight, once or maybe twice, you guys stopped Bowling Green when they were within the 5 yard line.
Yeah, it's a pride thing with it. It's like you're gonna let another man knock you back and celebrate after they do it. So I think that's a big thing with that.
Seemed like there was a lot of back and forth between Ball State and Bowling Green tonight, just kind of talking on the field. Is that another pride thing?
It wasn't even too much trash talking. It's mostly friendly. I just be asking people like, what's the play? What y'all running next? See if I can get a couple of laughs, and if they don't say nothing back, I'll know what type of vibe of the game it is.
Right. No, that makes sense. Obviously a tough loss, eliminated from bowl eligibility. What's that bus ride home gonna be like, and what's going through your mind right now?
I'm hurting bad. I had some like I'm close with some guys, and this is their last season in college football. Never won a championship in anything in their life, and I was just trying so hard to fight and stay on the court and make sure that we had opportunity to go out and play for a championship at the end of the season. But that bus ride, man, it sucks losing. It's never good. Sore. You're probably gonna be cold on the ride, and it's gonna be quiet. Ain't too much to be said, to be honest.
Yeah. Are there any guys in particular that you've talked to or that are in your mind that you're fighting for when you say you're fighting?
Sidney Houston, Damian Charity, like Red, Tyler Potts, like these guys that aren't coming back on this defense. And I've been here for quite a long time. I built a relationship with these guys. Like Sidney transferred in, hit it off the bat right with them. It's like these are all my brothers. Have some of these guys in my wedding, and it just hurt that couldn't get a championship for them boys that's not coming back.
That's all I got, Keionté.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Keionté, I don't have much more. Just just generally, what was it kind of just like to kind of play in a game like this, a night game, action? I know you guys didn't come out on top, but it was obviously extremely competitive throughout.
It was a nice, hard fought defensive game, even though I guess it went to me for a score, but action is what you're gonna get. Midwest football, cold, wind blowing a little bit. Best time of the year, to be honest. Just sucks we didn't come out on top.
I know you guys are going to review the film, but are there any moments, any plays that really stick out in your mind as missed opportunities?
Yeah, we had some bad communication on that touchdown. It's kind of blurry, but they had a gun split look, and we had bad communication from the linebackers in the back end, and end up cutting the guy free and then scoring on that. And it's just one of the plays. And it's like, man, or that little pinpoint that they ran to the field, and the Terry Smith stiff armed the guy and then took it all the way to the house. It's like we just get that guy on the ground, we just cover that guy down. That's a totally different ball game.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like some of those miscommunications were similar to ones you guys had a few weeks ago? Because it seemed like over the last 2 weeks leading up to tonight, they had gotten better.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Things are bound to happen, especially later on in the game when you're tired and been playing, you dragging. things are bound to happen, and then you might get something that you haven't seen all week during practice, but you just got to step up and make sure everybody's on the same page and we all in the best position to make plays.
Obviously a tough loss. I guess what I'm thinking of right off the bat is on that second to last drive on the RPO when you're going for it on fourth down. What did you see that kind of made you decide to pull it for a QB draw?
That was the play call, and you know, they had faith in me to get the first down, and I gotta look at it, but I must have hit the wrong hole or something.
So it was a designed QB draw, not an RPO.
Correct.
Okay, that was my mistake on that. I guess as well, you had a really good game rushing once again. When you are playing from behind and you're still trying to rush, how are you able to get confidence to break free for runs like the 45-yarder you had?
Just staying with it, no matter what the score is, we got to keep fighting. I didn't think today that we got down too much to where we had to panic or anything, but just continuing to execute no matter the situation.
Yeah. As well, just the turnovers, got to address them. I know that leading up to this game, that was something that the coaching staff was looking at. Do you feel like some of the turnovers today could have been prevented, or do you feel like that's just a credit to their defense?
I would say that there's nothing spectacular that they did. Just mental errors on my behalf. Mistakes I can't make. Like the first one just slipped, and second fumble is the backwards pass, and it just can't happen. It's not winning football, so I take full responsibility for that.
And a lot of times you're very even keel and don't show a whole lot of emotion. And after that second turnover, I remember showed a lot of emotion on the sideline. I guess what did you do in the second half to kind of clean things up and adjust? And you really played a really nice second half.
Yeah, just understanding that like I said, they weren't doing nothing spectacular, just mental errors, and I had to clean those up. I had to get his team a chance to win, and the way I was playing in the first half just wasn't acceptable, especially after the second fumble, because it's preventable plays. Just stupid on my behalf.
Yeah. Obviously, I can tell that you're a little. I mean, you're upset, obviously, and everybody in the program is. I guess what have you had any conversations with guys, or what's going through your head right now, kind of knowing where you guys are at?
Um, we can't just tuck our heads now. We got some big games coming up. NIU is a trophy game, so just because we can't play for a bowl game or whatever, we still got the opportunity to ruin some people's seasons.
So do you feel like at this point, in a sense, you're playing for pride?
Not at all. Trying to get better. The Ball State football is not just ending after this season, so we gotta continue to expand our identity.
And for you, I mean, as a redshirt sophomore, are you still kind of approaching, and as a new starting quarterback, are you just approaching every game as not only one that you want to win, but also one where you can learn something from every game and grow as a quarterback?
Yes, sir. Really, in this position, you learning every day. So especially on the game days, you want to learn from them and all, but you gotta try not to dwell on it too much. Flush it and move on from it.
Do you feel like that's one of the things that you've been able to pick up and learn throughout these first three games, and something that you want to take forward, just not to dwell on things?
Yes, sir.
I would say, yeah, that's something I took away from these 3 games. The season gonna keep moving. So whatever you did last week or the week before, it don't matter. And it's a new game every week, and you got to bring your best stuff out there.
Yeah, and I guess just the last thing for me, it just seems like kind of the biggest takeaway so far in these losses this year have just been inconsistency on the offense and the defensive end. You guys show flashes of really nice plays, really nice drives, and then maybe just some self-inflicted wounds will end up costing you. Do you feel that way as well? And if so, how do you feel like those things can get fixed moving forward?
Yes, sir. As far as today, I feel like the offense and defense really came to play. And if you look back at it in the first half, their only 2 touchdowns came off of the drives that they had after my fumbles. So I gotta be better, and I gotta help the defense out a little bit. But as far as us, putting it all together, playing a complete game, it starts with me, and I think I prevented the team from doing that today.
Yeah, Kyle, just a couple from me. You know, in the first quarter especially, it seemed like you were willing to kind of air the ball out a little bit. I think you took a couple shots to Keon, but you guys couldn't connect, and I think one hit him in the helmet. Do you guys talk about that after the game? Just anything about those missed opportunities?
Yes, sir. Really right after or during the game, after the game, we're gonna be talking about it a lot. We live together, and we wanna make those plays. And I don't know what happened on his end as to why it was dropped or whatever, but it's not more his fault or than it is mine. Just us both knowing that we uh as a both of us, we can't leave plays out there like that. I could have gave him a better ball, made it easier on his behalf. Especially the one that hit off his face, he had to kind of fight back for it a little bit. But yeah, we just wanted to stay aggressive coming out early. We knew that they were going to play the box pretty heavy.
I'll say, did you guys just get away from trying to take some of those shots after they didn't work in that first quarter?
Uh, Not necessarily getting away from it, but just sticking with what worked. Like I said, I felt like the offense was in pretty good shape until those two drives where I fumbled. So just getting to other things and trying to set up other stuff. I'm not sure why we got away from it.
I mean, aside from the 2 fumbles, it seemed to me like the offense kind of did what it was designed to do. Like you guys had some long, methodical drives, and you hit the big touchdown run. Like, was this the most comfortable you felt aside from those 2 fumbles?
Uh, I can't. I approach every game. Every game feels the same as far as me being comfortable. But I can't say that with more experience that I am getting that the game is starting to slow down a little bit, and it's reading defenses and just it's different when you're out there rather than watching it on film or from the sideline. So I would say my experience is getting better.
And just last one, I don't think Tanner had a catch today, and obviously we know what kind of player he is. But is there something that you guys are just not clicking, or do you feel like he needs to get a few more looks?
For sure. You gotta when you have a player like him on your team, you gotta get him the ball, and I gotta do a better job at trying to find him out there. You know, there's play calls where we can get him the ball, and really any pass play, I gotta key in on where he's at, and I think it's unacceptable. He has 0 catches, and it's on me.